Early success doesn't always equal continued success. Throughout all of Trio FNCS, no trio won the first Cash Cup and then proceeded to go on to win FNCS. This is the Curse of the First. With the first Cash Cup of Chapter 3 taking place, I wanted to see if there was any relevance to this and whether or not teams were able to succeed and win both the first Trio Cash Cup and then go on to win FNCS. Now, we took 5 different seasons. I looked at both NA East and EU, a total of 10 different teams looking at their first Cash Cup win and then their performance in FNCS. Now, what I can tell you is EU typically tends to perform better based on the first place winner, and only one team has split up that has won the first Cash Cup. So it does bode well if you are able to win the first Cash Cup of the season and then continue to play together for FNCS. One important piece to note is that we have seen significant changes both in the meta and in the map from the beginning of the season all the way to the end of FNCS. So that could vary and change the overall meta and exactly how these teams are playing, but what we have seen is typically if you do well in the beginning of the season, you will continue to see success throughout the entirety of the season. The only problem is you're not going to be able to get that top spot. So the historical data says you'll do well in FNCS, you just won't be able to win it. Overall, there's not enough data points to significantly say that this is true. It's more just a superstition or a combination of events that have happened. But what we can do is look at what is going on in this current season, Chapter 3 Season 1, and whether or not we'll be able to see continued success from the 2 teams in EU and NA East that were able to go and win the first Cash Cup of the season. Now, there's going to be a number of different factors that we can look into, whether or not the map's going to change, whether or not the meta is going to stay the same, and what the FNCS format looks like compared to previous seasons. Now, there's a couple of things that we already know. One, what we saw in the first Cash Cup has already been nerfed. The day after, they reduced the damage of both the MKAR as well as the Stinger SMG. We'll likely see more nerfs to the spray weapons as the season continues, and maybe a buff or two to the shotgun. In addition, we do know that the map's going to melt, and Tilted's going to come back at some point. Maybe it's not exactly Tilted, but it's going to be another POI, and we know that Epic loves to develop the map over time. So, both the map and the meta are very likely to change from this point all the way to the end of FNCS. Then if we look at the format of FNCS, we've gone from a long qualifying process now to just 2 weeks in qualifiers that are jammed into the 4 days right before the semifinals, and then we've had multiple different semifinal qualifying formats. So overall, the format has changed, and we're going to see a slightly new format this season, which will make it that much harder to be able to win FNCS. And talking about winning FNCS, not only do you have to score the most points, but we're also going to see the introduction of match point, where you not only need to score a lot of points, but you also need to win a match in order to win FNCS. Now, there's going to be other ways around that, but that is going to change the overall format and how players are going to be able to succeed. Now let's look at the players and see if they have the ability historically to have success in FNCS. We take a look at Juliancom, who hasn't really been successful or even seemed to play the game a ton since 2019. The past couple of years have not been as good to him, but he did have a top 10 FNCS finish back in 2019 when it was squads. Now Till, on the other hand, is almost the exact opposite of Juliancom. He has steadily been improving and seeing better and better placements over time since he began playing a few years ago. These two are definitely going to be a dark horse and an underdog to win FNCS, and if they were to, at least right now, it would be a massive surprise. Looking at the other duo of Edgy and Tahi, it's a completely different story. Those two have been really successful, especially Edgy, who is very consistently placing within the top 5 of FNCS finals. He has the ability to get there and win one, he just hasn't yet. On the other hand, Tahi is consistently qualifying for finals as well, he just hasn't yet reached that top 3rd placement that we're looking for in order to see that repeat success from this first Cash Cup. This may be an overanalysis, but what we're looking at is 2 players who have potential to win FNCS, and then there's Juliancom and Till, who have the potential to break out, and this could be their first tournament where they really start to come on strong. So what does all this mean? Are one of these 2 duos going to break the curse of this first? Well, Tahi and Edgy look poised to be one of the best teams that has ever won the first Cash Cup. But at the same time, we've seen some really good teams go ahead win the first Cash Cup, just unable to reach that top spot come the end of the season. Now, on the other hand, Till and Julian.com, it may be their season. They could be breaking out, and we've seen it happen before, but rarely does a team go on and overcome all of the challenges that come along the season. There's no precedent for either of these teams to go on and win FNCS, yet at the same time, it would be awesome to see someone break the curse. Likely this is going to continue. It's much harder to win FNCS than it is to do anything else within Fortnite, and if we see either of these players on top at the end of the season, the curse will officially have been broken. Until then, the curse remains, and everyone else will be trying to break the curse of the first.